We are live from New York City. Welcome, everybody, to Trunk Nation.
Yeah.
Faction Talk, Sirius XM Channel 103. And, of course, volume on the Sirius XM app. It is good to have everybody tuned in this Cyber Monday, day after Thanksgiving. Instead of getting barraged by a billion emails to buy shit today, you're here with us in New York City with Bret Michaels, ladies and gentlemen.
Woo! Fired up. We're going to barrage you with an awesomeness of me and Eddie's debauchery, right? And funny and good times. How's everyone doing? And happy holidays. Happy Cyber Monday. Eddie, it is great to see you, my friend.
Great to see you, Bret. And the reason why I bring up people being here is because we do have a wonderful studio audience in front of us that have come out on this Monday to join us here in New York City, and got about 4 rows of bleachers. Bret, you've played to bigger crowds, but they seem enthusiastic.
This, I'm telling you right now, this is the best right here. We just coming off the stadium tour. We have, I think I know almost everyone out here. It's like family, right? And we're all hanging out, getting together, and the stadium tour was incredible. I had such a great time. Me and you have spent many times out on the road, and then you saw us. We were down in Tulsa.
Yeah, your headline show,
Headline show with Poison, sold out, crazy at the arena.
Yeah.
And what a great time. But again, I thank the fans, as I always do, all 3 generations of us hanging. We're like family now and having such a great time. And that stadium tour, I can't say it best, between Def Leppard and Motley and Joan Jett, Classless Act, Poison, each was unique, brought its own style, but I cannot tell you, I've never been more thankful to be out on the road having a great time.
Well, you waited long enough to make that happen, obviously. The fans waited, 3 years, the bands. It was frustrating for everybody, all those delays, right?
Absolutely. And let me tell you that, it sounds great, but what the situation was is that with going through the entire pandemic, and then it would start, and then, different things were happening, it would stop again. I can't thank, again, the fans enough for hanging in there. No one giving tickets back. Again, highest grossing tour for a reason. They know that every one of the bands on that tour were going to bring 1,000%.
And I got to say this, and I've told it to you, I've told it to the other guys in Poison when the tour was happening, and this is the God's honest truth, and I'm not saying this just because you're sitting here with me. While that tour happened, to this very radio show, I was getting calls as that tour hit every city from people that went. And I love doing that with this show. I pride myself that this show is that place. I always say it's like sports talk for the rock fan. If a game happens, everybody calls sports talk. A big music event, people call my show. So all the calls that I was getting were all, honestly, man, raving about Poison's performance, and specifically you, and how grateful and appreciative you seem to be out there every night with that audience. Can you talk about what that tour meant to you, and being in stadiums again and having that big connection with that many people again?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you. Thank you for saying that. And again, first of all, let's segue to something here. You and me are like rock jocks. We love our rock and roll and love our sports. So I call you for both music and sports, right?
You've talked. Well, you're wait, now I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole.
Don't segue yet.
How crazy is this that my New York Football Giants have a better record than your Steelers right now?
I knew I set myself up right there. I was waiting for the punch in the jaw, and you got me.
No.
We're going to get into that later.
We'll get into it. We'll get there. Sports Talk with Bret and Eddie coming.
Here it comes. So I want to say this. The truth of the matter is that, first of all, getting together with Cece and Ricky and with Bobby, being out on that stage, we were having a time of our life. And, when we go up there's Poison, we go up there, we play real, raw music. The excitement, the energy is real. Everybody that came out there, when I hit that stage at 6 o'clock, it was Live Nation. And I'll tell you how the party girl got born, right? This is what happened. I'd hit that stage. I'd spend about an hour before I went on stage back in this dressing room area that was tented off, right? And I would listen to Joan Jett. I was so fired up. I didn't want to leave that stage. Half the time when I would finish the Poison set, I'd sit up there and wait for Def Leppard or Motley to come on, and I wasn't going to enjoy every minute of it. But when I hit that, I would come running out from the back of the stage, as you witnessed, all the way from that dressing room, 1,000 miles an hour, the front of that stage, and we would hear the beginning and look what the cat dragged in, and I would run out, jump in the air, and I'd be down, crawling around on that thrust, hitting every fan's hand, partying, singing. And then the next thing you know, we kick into it. And that sincerity from the first time I ever got to play music till sitting here with you right now is as real as it gets. I'm grateful for incredible fans, and I'm a fan of music myself. And we've talked about this, you and me, a lot. I love playing music. I love being a musician, but I'm also a fan of music. So I hope that is the perfect storm when you hit that stage.
Yeah, well, it comes across clear and it's sincere, and knowing you all these decades, and like you said, the times we've had hanging out, that resonates, because above and beyond anything, we bond over our love of whether it be bands or sports or whatever it is.
Right.
But that's a theme with you, and by extension, Poison, since the very beginning. If you look at the earliest videos, whether it's Cry Tough or Talk Dirty to Me,
right,
you're having fun the whole time.
Fun.
It's smiling and just looking like the time of your life. So that was instilled from the very beginning, it seems like, with you. Like, even before I would think Poison got signed, when you're out there playing in the clubs and stuff, just that connection with that audience, and the vibe you put out is of just being really, really appreciative to be there.
I am. And that again, thank you for saying and noticing it, because that positive energy, that plays into everything I do. And part of it comes from, again, going back to a indoor-outdoor soak carpet in my floor in Pennsylvania, in the basement. That's where you started jamming, especially in the wintertime. And then when it got warmer, you moved up to the garage. But those years of sitting down there, and like I've told you before in the show, I'm a realist. So I'm a dreamer, but I'm a realist. And you have to have that to get it done. So you want to dream big, right? You're like, this is my dream, whatever that is. For me, it was being a musician, right? But also, you got to be a realist. You got to put in your work to get it done. And when I hit that stage, everything in my life that is going on, it goes away. And the only thing that matters when I hit that stage is how thankful I am. That's why when you see me jumping up in the air, everyone's laughing, because my friends out here, they all got that picture of me in the air with my mouth wide open. That is sincere and it's real. And whether it was a stadium or we're going to play some acoustic stuff in here or a small venue, that energy is always inside of me. And I try to bring that to the stage, and it helps that you also put your time in to write great music. But the one thing, if you noticed on the stadium tour, besides, again, to the fans and critics, thank you for the awesome, great reviews, right? That's a good feel. I'm not going to lie. That's a good feeling.
Sure, of course.
And, and there's no one harder on themselves than I am. I mean, I know I get done with the show and I'm like, I could have done this better, sang that here, done this, but you're grateful to see that. But I take my moment, just like coming in here today to SiriusXM and you, and hanging, walking around and thanking everybody. I walked around thanking the crew, the band, everybody. I need people to know it takes a village. And I repeat that over and over again. And it takes everybody to make that show happen. And this summer, that was the most incredible feeling to see how much stuff they had to move in and out to get, Joan Jett's finishing. Now Poison's rolling up. Then you got either Motley or Leopard, whoever's next,
right.
And the crews did a great job. And I think that is where this was all born, the party gras, right, that we're going to have. The party we're about to have with the Bret Michaels Party Gras. I created this idea that it is a celebration of the fans, the bands, the music, no attitudes, no egos, just a whole lot of fun. And we're going to do a night of all killer, no filler.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Before we get to Party Gras, we're going to talk about Party Gras, and you're rolling it out, and I know you're jacked about it. But one other thing I want to ask you, going back, a couple quick things on the stadium tour.
Please.
So when I talk about the spirit that you had when you first came out and the world first saw you and Poison early on, early videos, early shows, right? A lot of people who have been doing this as long as you have, 40 years, whatever it is, right? They lose that. Let's be honest, they lose that. It's a grind to them. It's like, oh, shit, I got to go do this piece of press, or I got to go see this person, or, again, in all sincerity, knowing you as well as I do, you're not that guy. You still have that same smile and that same energy. And I'm curious about something, and not to get all heavy about this, but you've been through, we all know, your fair share of health scares. We know your diabetic situation. Just before you sat down here a minute ago, you said you just had a spike or something.
A low sugar.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, beyond your appreciation for your career and your music, I would think with all you've been through and all you continue to endure, there's an overall arcing appreciation for just life.
Absolutely. You just nailed it on the head. And I was going to segue into that earlier, but now that you brought this up, what happens is at 6 years old, being diagnosed being type 1 diabetic, right? And here I am, the only kid in the school at Filbert Street Elementary in Mechanicsburg, right? I'm the only kid that's diabetic in the school at that point. And, here I am doing 4 and 5 injections or trying to figure out, how to adjust the blood sugar. And there was this is the God's honest truth. There was 2 paths I could take. There's either to take the path of being a victim or being victorious over it. And I chose the path of leading down the path of victorious and knowing this is the card I was dealt. This is the card I was handed. And instead of me, don't get me wrong, it's not something you want, but if it's a card I'm handed, I was going to deal with it. And that's what my mom and dad and my sisters instilled in me, to go out there. And music is so therapeutic to me. I say this to everybody, forget the genre, take away all that, right? Find music that rocks your world. Music, think about this, it's the only thing that works in every application. You know what I mean? If you're wanting to work out, there's music for that. If you're feeling high, you're feeling low, music works in every application. And it's why I never put a category on what we did. One time I was feeling a song, like Nothing But a Good Time or Talk Dirty to Me, you're feeling sexy or Unskinny Bop. But then also I lost my best friend chemo and I wrote Something to Believe In. Every rose has its thorn. Toughest thing sometimes in the world is dealing with a broken heart because nobody can help you through that. It's a pain you got to work your way through, and music truly saved my life. Some of the best times of my life, some of the lowest times, but I think what you're asking is when I hit that stage, when I say a perfect storm, all that, I take all that, I ball it up, I got all that energy burning in here. People call it an it factor. It's an intangible. Can't exactly put your finger on it or explain it, but when I hit that stage, I just feel nothing but good. I look out at, everything goes away, and that, like right now, I feel, looking out at everyone out here and you, I got this energy. There's an appreciation that it's there.
But that in and of itself is the beauty of doing, the blessing, if you will, of doing what you love for a living. Right. Because the same thing happens to me. In what I do is I'll spend, I'm on the air a couple hours every day. I'll whatever I'm going through. Bottom line is 3 Eastern hits. I turn my mic on. I'm lost in my world with my audience, arguing about this band versus that band or this record versus that record. But it's relatively speaking, you get to go out and get all that from your audience. Whatever you do, when you can get lost in that, that's such an important thing. And I'm curious now, after all these decades of doing this, you work harder than a lot of people that I know, whether it's Poison stuff, whether it's your own stuff. For people that don't know, Bret is hands-on. Like, you are not above picking up a phone, calling somebody, calling a promoter, calling me, calling anybody and saying, hey, I'm thinking about this. You're always going. How does that drive continue? Like, after all these decades and all the success, where does the drive to continue to be like that come from?
I just want to say this. It comes from a really natural, organic place. What I mean is that drive, that determination in me, I can't put my finger because I'm living in my own brain and body. I can't look at it from the outside, but there's a part of me, like when I call you and say, let's do this, let's go here. Do you want to host a show with me? When I call here to Sirius or the promoters at Live Nation or individual promoters, I call them up and say, let's do this. Let's throw a party. Let's do a karaoke where a fan can win a chance to come on stage. And then for me, it's simple. You pick up the phone, you make great relationships with people, and you call them and you say, hello, this is what I'd like to do. And so everyone that's in the music world or any of the entertainment world, I've known forever. I partied with, mostly partied with, hung out with. We've partied.
Yes.
You know what I mean? We've thrown down a couple good
If
good
people
times.
have seen your book, your scrapbook that came out,
Yes.
there's a story about Bret and I partying not very far from where we're sitting right now.
No.
Before
It's
you
good.
went over to visit the troops.
Yes.
And we had a great time in there as well. But that's a really interesting and very unique and very special trait that you have, that you're willing to do that. I was talking to a friend of mine who's a promoter in Tulsa once, and he said to me, he was trying to get a date, this is years ago with you guys or something, he goes, so I'm talking to the booking agent, whatever, he goes, the next thing I know, Bret calls me himself and says, hey, how about we do this or that instead? And he's like, nobody does that. Did you ever do anything like that and have the person on the other end and not believe it's actually you?
We've had a few phone calls like that. They're like, it went on for 11 minutes. I'm like, listen, I'm going to send you a picture on the phone, if it was phone yet. You know what I mean? I'm going to show you this picture. It's me. They're like, wait, what? And I'm like, no, because I get on the phone and I jump right into the conversation. I'm like, how you doing? Listen, here's what I'm thinking. We're going to do this huge party for the fans backstage. It's going to be this. The front row's called the Platinum Party Pit. You know, my brain's got all these creative ideas I want to do. And we laugh sometimes. I said, I don't ever want to be that guy trying to big time somebody. Just not my style. I need 6 people to call this and do. I'm like, let me just pick up the phone and let's just talk. Let's figure it out. And in the end, what I found out is the reality of doing that makes it so much better. And I can tell you right now, 99.999%, I do not have a bad relationship with anybody. Even sometimes the promoter's like, I like to do this. I'm like, let's just work this out. You want to do that. You want to launch this on this date. You want to do that. And then I throw my suggestion on the table and we figure it out. And that I know exactly who you're talking about, by the way. Yeah. We were getting ready and doing like, the Rocklahomas. But I love that I get the ability to do truly what I love to do. Yeah, before we get on to some music and Party Gras and all of that, one last thing on the stadium tour. What for you were some of your personal highlights? Now, I saw there was video of you having a football toss with Joan Jett, which had to be pretty cool. That was great. Like there's video of you and Tommy Lee were hanging out, talking shop, I'm sure. But just for you, beyond the fans, beyond the shows, stuff that went on that tour that we didn't see that was, for you, like a real highlight. Right. So a couple things. Again, you nailed it. Hanging out with Joe, getting to talk to him and Phil, hanging out with Joan Jett, throwing baseball. She went back that we were in Arizona. I remember it exactly. And we were in there throwing baseball with the crew. So I have all the crew between their break, and we're throwing the baseball around. And all of a sudden, Joan comes out. She goes, let me have that. I was like, wow, she got Joan. I knew she would. She had an arm on her. She threw some heat. She threw some heat, some high heat right there. So it was, that was incredible. But, again, being back there and just hanging with everybody, those are great highlights. But the true highlight was we do this incredible with Poison or myself, having the VIP meet and greets with the fans. They don't know it, but you need to hear this. It fires me up. Like when I'm meeting people and hanging and talking to them, ours isn't one of those ones where we like to distance it. I realize there's stuff going on out there with the different variables of whatever's happening during the pandemic. Right. But everyone away from all that, we would hang backstage, we would shake hands, talk about life, get a great photo, and that got me fired up. But going out on that stage, and honest to God, those highlights, I remember every single city. I remember what we did there, how it was great, and everyone wants one moment. As you know, with me, Eddie, I live in the moment. I live in the day. I'm one of those guys I keep my boots in the dirt. And so every day something's going on, and then I'm one of those guys, I'm an outdoor person, and so. And we found out you can also fix trailers and RVs I can fix it all. We were laughing handy on TikTok. They were laughing. I go, who's going to watch this? I'm under my RV working on it when Pete, I don't know where the hell he went. He'll be in here in a minute. He's going to play in a minute. So my buddy Pete, our guitar, my best good Pete friend and guitar player. But Petey, I go, he was laughing because I was underneath working on the RV, and I'm not making this up. We were probably a few hours away from going to the stadium to play, and stuff was breaking. I'm like, I took my personal family truckster with me so I could park under the stadiums, and I can't make this up. I would get underneath there and start working, and I see him with the camera go, why don't you get your ass under here? It started helping me out. It was hot. You know what I mean? But we fixed it up, and if anyone needs a good laugh, or in your life, if you're ever having a bad moment and you want to laugh, just watch my TikTok. It will show you the epic comedy of errors that is my life.
You were sitting in a lawn chair in a stream at one point.
Yes,
I saw that too.
That was good.
That was good stuff too. And lastly, on the stadium tour stuff, what about the reconnection with the other guys in the band? I mean, you don't do stuff all that often with CC, Ricky, and Bobby. I didn't see any bass guitars flying towards your head mid-set. It seemed like
good.
The vibe was good. You didn't have to dodge anything from your band members.
Nope.
It seemed like it was a good vibe. Are we getting the right read there?
You got the right read. Here's the thing. Let me start with the stadium, and then I'll segue back to the stadium. So on the stadium tour, when we got to rehearsals for this, and remember, this started up 3 different times.
Right.
We never had such a great time. Everyone laughing, talking about life. Talking about, all of us have kids, and we were just talking about everything, and we had fun. We put together a set. We said, if they make our set a little shorter, a little longer, whatever we can fit in there, let's just go out, play real music. And I looked at everybody and said, let's just have fun. Let's have fun. And that's exactly what happened. And 99.999% of the time with Poison, we have a great time. Cece and Bobby, Ricky, myself, once in a while when it goes bad, we don't have a gray area. When Poison goes bad, it goes really bad.
There's that 1/10 of a percent.
1/10 of a percent, but when it goes bad, it's fists. Like, there's no negotiating a gray area. But that seems to make the highlights. That makes the highlight reel. But 9 times out of 10, we are having the best time of our life, going out there playing real music. And that's the same way with the solo band. It takes a village. I don't like yes people, meaning around me. You want people that, you can do better, sing this, try that. We push each other, and that's a good thing, And I'll leave it at this. Going back through the years, in those situations, you got to remember, we're partying, we're having a great time, and you got a bunch of different people speaking to each individual band member, getting in their head, and eventually you all just going to pull it together and get in the same room. And what I noticed with Bobby, me, Cece and Ricky, 4 completely different personalities, like different thoughts, different ways of looking at stuff. And we have to respect that about each other. And I think it only took us 30 some odd years, 38-ish, 39-ish years to figure that out.
Was it like that at the very beginning?
No, we were all, here's the thing, in the beginning, don't ever forget, you have what happens to bands? You have a common foe. You're all going out there. We drove out to LA together in a Chevette, a beat up ambulance van, and a green pickup truck. I mean, drove out. We're told we're 1 in a billion bands. You're never the chances of making it are 1 in a zillion. And we just kept at it, put out our own independent record, but we had each other, and that was it. As you start to go along, you start to get different people creep in. All of a sudden, Bobby, you don't need to do this, and Bret, you don't need, so we just had to pull it back together. But through thick and thin, we now are probably about every 2 years, we go back out on the road. I hope to at least, if not, make a complete album. Just go in there and write a song or 2 together, and just a fun, great. I write with the solo band. We write all the time, every day. My phone, wherever the hell, I forgot where my phone's at. We never. I'm always dumping music into my phone. I'll come up with a beat. I'll be like, and then, I'm always writing something in my head. And I'm hoping with Poison we'll get to do that. But we, with the band, and Pete and myself, wrote a brand new song called Back in the Day. Mm-hmm. And it's just a throwback road trip anthem. And when people hear this, it's just a really great, good feeling party song. It's a great rock song.
So that's a good segue then for us to maybe take a quick break, and we have a clip of that I know. Now I know the full song's not out yet. When do you plan on putting the full song out?
Full song comes out mid-January, and the video, we're in the process of shooting it because we're going everywhere, shooting different pieces of it, and it's really going to be well put together. And you talk about hands-on. I'm also director, occasionally featured in it, and helping edit it. I love doing that.
Did you write? Because I've heard it. It's great. It really is. It captures a great, fun. It's perfect. It's perfect for you and for people that just love rock and roll. But did you write this while you were recently on the tour? Were you sitting on this for a little while?
No, we're sitting on it. Well, not sitting. I go in and again, I sit down, I do drum beats, I do stuff. And if people watch TikTok, you'll see the evolution of different moments that's happening. I'm in the studio trying to play all the instruments and do this. And Pete jumps in and he's playing this part. And it's, but it finally all of a sudden you realize it all comes together. We needed the right music to go with the right vibe. And it's real, just has this, I can't even explain. It's just I feel good about it.
Well, let's let people hear a little clip of it. So this will be a little exclusive, actually.
I would love it.
People get a little taste of a brand new song that Bret has coming in January. You said so a month or two away that people can get the full song.
Yes.
And it's called Back in the Day.
Right.
So here's a little clip of it. We'll go to it right now and then go to a break. And then when we come back, I know you're gonna play some songs for us here today, which is going to be great. We'll take some questions from the great audience that's here and maybe a few phone calls from people listening as well. 844-686-5863 as usual is the number. And of course, we got to talk Party Gras because you've got an announcement to make about a big tour that you're doing with your band, and everybody's got their beads.
Look at this. Bandanas, beads.
Bandanas, everything.
I'm giving a big hug to everyone out there, just so you know.
You're right. Just so people know, we are in a glass, Bret and I are in a glass studio. Yeah. And then on the other, we're like the boys in the plastic bubble here.
Right. I feel like John Travolta throwing back to the old Travolta one, the boy in the bubble.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
I want to be out there partying.
We're dating ourselves, but we remember that, right? But we have like 3-4 rows of bleachers right in front of us on the other side of the glass. So I don't think they're mic'd, but trust us, they're out there and they're excited.
Oh, they're having a great time. Look.
Yeah, we'll mix it.
Look at them.
We'll do like they did with live records in the 70s. We'll mix in some fake applause.
Shh, a big stadium. Grab one of those stadium tracks, throw it in here.
Exactly. It's been done. All right, we'll take a break. Here's a little bit of Back in the Day, a brand new song coming in January from Bret, and then we'll come back. We'll talk Party Gras. Bret's going to put on some acoustics with Pete. We're going to hear some music, and we're going to get some questions. We're just underway. Trunk Nation live till 5 Eastern with Bret Michaels hanging with me. We'll be right back.
Yeah.
But there is